did to deserve you, oh. But I don't ever wanna hurt you. Don't know what I did to deserve you, oh. Girl, I don't ever wanna hurt you. 'Cause you make me feel alive. And you are, let's put this car in drive. Don't know what I did to deserve you, girl. You are perfect in my eyes. Perfect in my eyes. Perfect in my eyes. Yeah. Don't know what I did to deserve you, girl. You are perfect in my eyes.
I try not to be living in a humdrum. Don't ask me to be just as great as the next one. You try to give me good advice. Thanks a lot, but I can pay the price. I just want to be living it up. I ain't giving up on my own life. I'm no copycat. I own style. I'm just where it's at. My own life. I'm no copycat. I own style. I'm living it up. I ain't giving up on me. I will not achieve high gloves, not perfection. It's a one-way street in the wrong direction. I'm happy just the way I am. I got no reason to pretend. I just want to be living it up. I ain't giving up on my own life. I'm no copycat. I own style. I'm just where it's at. My own life. I'm no copycat. I own style. I'm living it up. I ain't giving up on me. What is wrong with being a non-standard girl? It's my song I want to sing to the world. 'Cause I know, yes I know, I don't wanna be living in the humdrum. I just want to be living it up. I ain't giving up on my own life. I'm no copycat. I own style. I'm just where it's at. My own life. I'm no copycat. I own style. I'm living it up. I ain't giving up on my own life. I'm no copycat. I own style. I'm just where it's at. My own life. I'm no copycat. I own style. I'm living it up. I ain't giving up on me.
Oh,
Good morning, afternoon, and evening to everyone around the world. It is time for the Wild Rift Icons Global Championship live draw show. I'm Rafa. I'm going to be your host for today, and we've got a lot to cover. Not only we are introducing the 24 teams that will be representing all of the global leagues that have earned their way to play here in Wild Rift's first ever seasonal competition on the international stage. But also, we will be seeing how they slot up against each other in our draw show. And because it's a lot of teams to go and cover, I brought three very talented experts from around the world to help me with this. My first friend, coming all the way back to my home territory in the WNS. This guy has got over 4 years of mobile esports experience, casting multiple world championships, grand finals. It is my brother, Mr. TJ. What's up, man?
I am praying for a good placement for North America. I am delighted to start things off. I've been waiting for hours to say this, Mark. It is going to be iconic.
Very based. I like that. Iconic. That is going to be the name of the show. But of course, we have two more guests that will be helping us on the show as well. Our second guest comes from across the pond, all the way in the UK, where not only he casted and covered the Wild Rift Europe, Middle East, and Africa Championship alongside the rest of the casters over there, but also he is a content creator and a challenger marksman player on Wild Rift Europe server for Excel. It is the one and only Stuart. How are you doing, my man?
Thank you very much, Rafa. I'm excited. This is the moment that we've been all waiting for. I just want to get the show on the road to see where all the teams slot in, so really excited.
Yeah, I'm expecting a YouTube highlight thumbnail banger after this on your channel right afterwards as well. And of course, our final guest that is coming in all the way from Southeast Asia. She has a multitude and plethora of both mobile gaming and PC gaming esports experience. And also, she is a voice actress and does her own streaming content. She is the queen of the Philippines. It is the one and only Riku. Welcome to the show.
Oh my god, what an introduction. Thank you so much, Rafa. Excited to be here. Excited to cheer again for the WCS teams. And, you know, it's all about that destiny, which groups are my favorite team's going to land on, you know?
We will definitely have to see how everything turns out. And as you can see on your screen, our lovely host as well, live from Icons, is going to be covering and showing us which teams will be slotting in. We will be beginning with the play-in draw stage, where teams in each pool will be randomly drawn into one of the four groups. If at any point a team is drawn into a group which has already a team from their region, and they will be placed into the next non-conflicted group. TJ, I'm going to you here because I don't think some of our fans at home know where some of the teams will be slotting into which pools here.
Yeah, so we've gone ahead and divided the teams into 4 pools for the plans, and then based on the results of the plans, we'll get 2 more pools to slot into the groups draw when we get there. So I'll go ahead and start here with Pool 1 and 2 as they show up on screen. These are for the group stages, and these are all the top-seeded teams out of their various regions. So the engineering here is that you're not going to get teams from the same pool in their same group. There's FPX, Team Flash, Rolster, and Sengoku in Pool 1. And we are, I believe, moving on to the play-ins, where you have these 4 pools of stacked teams.
It's a lot of teams to cover, TJ. It is 24 teams coming into this tournament, but when we get into the group stage, it'll be a total of 16 teams. That's because another 16 teams will be going through and battling out in the play-in stage. And it looks like we are beginning our first draw for the group stage here. Caster Crown. Our first group, for the play-in stage, this is going to be Flash Wolves slotting into Group A. And Riku, I'm coming to you for the first one on this one. This is the second seed from Southeast Asia.
I know, the second seed from WCS, and this roster has been unchanged since year 0 of Wild Rift. And, you know, they started their journey as always second place when it comes to the Masters region up against one team. But they finally faced their demons, and they're finally first place.
We're going to see who slots as well into Group A, but of course we have to fill out the rest of the top of the seeds for Groups B, starting with JDG, the second seed from the WRLTJ.
Yeah, we just saw them unfortunately lose on stage, but they did so with the same fire that they have all season, drafting for the early game, having assassins, an aggressive bottom lane duo that can dominate this league.
Who will be heading the top of Group C? It looks like it is going to be Vivo Kid Stars from the Wild Tour Brazil League. Stuart here.
Yeah, the Brazilian representatives coming in as well. It's I mean, it's surprising that they got into pool number 1. I think coming into it, they just lost in the finals. They're the second seed coming in from Brazil, but I think Brazil as a region is definitely hugely underrated. I'm excited to see what teams are going to be paired in that group.
Which does mean that the last seed of Guangdong Freaks from the WCK will be heading Group D here, Riku.
Yeah, Guangdong Freaks, right? Like, they weren't here last year. It's year zero as an organization. It's their debut, and they basically combined, you know, this roster from 2 different teams from last year, which is Break Frame Gaming, and as well as, you know, from Gulp Gaming as well. So I'm excited to see their debut here over in the big stage, especially, you know, the competition is completely stacked.
Now, this is where things are going to get very exciting here, gentlemen, and we have pool 2 seeds coming in. This is where, yeah. Let's see what happens. Oh, it is from the WLL, Latin American region, Furious Gaming here, TJ.
Very excited to see them here. Furious Gaming looked really good regionally. The LATAM League ending with Leviathan coming out on top. Furious Gaming placed second to them after a hard-fought season and a very close semi-final. Look for their fiery team fights. There'll be a fun matchup into Flash Wolves.
For our Group B, what is the second team that will be joining them? It is Unsold Stuff Gaming here from the WJC, the Japan region, alongside JDG. Now, this is already a spicy group here, Riku.
Oh yeah, absolutely, right. I mean, they had a close finals up against Sengoku. It ended up 3-4, and they had a few changes for their roster. It used to be just Mai, Tatsuki, and Threes, but they added more people, which is Lark and Kaz, respectively.
And right now, this is for the Kiad Stars group, which is probably the easiest group we still have left.
Oh, and Stuart, that's Rix.GG. That's from your home territory. How are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, I think Rix will be very, very happy with that group. I think dodging out some of the top pool teams like Flash Wolves, JDG, and slotting into the Brazilian second seed, Kivo. So a good start for the European representatives. Rix, I think coming into this season, they were this super team that brought in, you know, the likes of Seven from China and also Random from Game Lord. Really, really big super team, and honestly, very comfortable with that group. Very happy.
Which does mean that the last seed from Pool 2 is Sentinels, the second seed from the WNS, the Wild Rift North American Series. TJ, this does mean that our home team is going up against Guangdong Freaks from WCK.
Which isn't a good sign for them. Of course, the top 2 teams get out of each group in the play-ins, so it is possible, even with a terrifying team like JDG, or the Guangdong Freaks in your group, you can get out, but Sentinels are going to be watching the rest of this draw. They're a very good team, but they've had some struggles with their lineup coming into this event. We're still not sure who it's going to be. I'm very excited to see them play, and I'm terrified of the rest of this.
We now advance into Pool 3. Who will slot into Group A? Oh, Riku! That's RRQ coming in.
Gasp.
However, because Group A already has Flash Wolves seated at the top in Group A, that means RRQ will automatically go into Group B, the next eligible group, alongside JDG and Unsold Stuff Gaming.
Oh, it's looking pretty tough, Rafa. Like, there's JDG in Group B, but I mean, RRQ had a crazy start, right? They were 5th in their groups back in the WCS PH, and they took the championship title, and then are the 3rd seed coming in from the WCS.
Now, a couple options here, Stuart, as we're looking at the Europe group for Rix.GG and Vivo Kid from Brazil. The next option is Nova Esports, which does mean I believe we do go back to Group A because it had Flash Wolves and Furious Gaming. So Nova will slot in alongside them.
Flash Wolves and Nova in the same group as well. Furious is going to be struggling definitely, even though they were in Pool 2. The LATAM region Seed 2 is going to be struggling, but Nova coming into this as one of the seeds from China are going to look very, very strong in that group.
Our next team drawn from Pool 3. This is Liberty Gaming, the third seed from the Wild Tour Brazil League. And because Vivo Kid is already in Group C, it means that Liberty will be slotting in to Group D here, TJ.
Which is very good news, I think, for Liberty Gaming, because they're getting a group with Sentinels in it, those two teams within striking distance of each other. Liberty finished third in the Wild Tour in Brazil, and they carry their region's trademark team fights to the Icon Series.
And I hear a gasp from Stuart. The last seed from Pool 3 is T1. The third team from the WCK will now be joining Rix.GG and Vivo Kid.
I honestly think Group C might be one of the closest groups. We've got the Brazilian second seed. We've got EU in there. We also have Korea's third seed as well, T1, who's this big, massive League of Legends organization coming into Wild Rift now. I was feeling confident to start, but now I'm not too sure.
Well, now we advance into Pool 4. This is how we start to round out the groups completely. The first team that is drawn is OMG from the WRL. It cannot slot into Group A as it already has Nova Esports, and it cannot slot into Group B, which means Group C, Stuart, has now been closed out with OMG.
Wow. This group is completely stacked. I honestly can't even predict the two teams that are going to make it out of this group. You got China 4th seed, you got the Korean 3rd seed, you also have Rix in there as well. It's stacked, Rafa, it's stacked.
Well, now, our next team from Pool 4 is going to be Buriram from the Southeast Asia WCS League. Riku, this does mean that this will slot right into Group D, since there's already Southeast Asian teams in both Group A and Group B.
Okay, I think I'm feeling pretty confident after watching BRU's performance at the WCS. I feel like they can really stack really well. I think my only worry would most likely be Freaks.
And at this point, TJ, I think we know where the last two teams will go. This is STMN being drawn from the WOL, the Latin American region. Because there's already Furious Gaming in Group A, this puts them in Group B alongside JDG, Unsold Stuff Gaming, and RRQ.
Yeah, Stamina had a rough run of it too in the WOL, getting kind of knocked around in their own semi-final, where they got knocked down into 3rd place. So they were hoping for a good draw here. I think they have a solid group with that kind of floaty 3rd slot. They're going to have to beat out RRQ or Unsold Stuff to claim that final space.
And that brings us to our last Pool 4 team, Game Lord from the EMEA region. Stuart, this does put them alongside Flash Wolves, Nova, and Furious Gaming.
I feel like Flash Wolves and Nova will be definitely favorites in that Group A. I think Furious will definitely struggle coming in as the second seed from LATAM. Game Lord, probably, I mean, because they're Pool 4, it's going to be really, really hard whatever group they're going to slot in, because they're going to have to face off against these really, really strong teams from Asia, like Nova, like Flash Wolves. It's a tough group to go in, and coming into it as well, Game Lords, they didn't really perform that well in the LAN environment. They're kind of favorites going into the EMEA Championship Finals, but they really underperformed. And now in Pool 4, they're going to have to try and get through the teams like Flash Wolves and Nova.
Yeah, it's a tough outlook and prospects for both Furious Gaming and Game Lord coming in, as they are facing very strong teams from both the WRL and the Southeast Asia region in their own right. Now, I want to go back to TJ and then Riku afterwards. Quick thoughts. Any strong reactions that jump out of you after this play-in stage draw has concluded, starting with TJ?
I think we've got some pretty balanced groups here. I think every group has 2 expected favorites. Every group has 2 teams that you clearly expect to get out. And every group has some dark horses that could throw in an upset. You know, for Group D, which is obviously the group I'm most concerned with, Sentinels are going to have to upset either the Freaks or Buriram United, who are both favored in that group. But as with every other group, I think it is possible for Sentinels, or in fact Liberty from the Wild Tour, to get a good series win and to come out on top.
Well, I think for me, I'm very confident with RRQ Flash Wolves in the rerun, right? When I look at the group, my mind says very doable. So I feel relieved. That's my reaction.
Sense of relief. The WCS representative, much respect. As we now get to advance into our group stage draw-in, and Riku up to bat. TF, the #1 seed from WCS, will be heading up Group A.
Oh my god, yes. Team Flash has not lost a single series since their domestic playoffs. I think that's crazy. So we'll probably see their first defeat in the Icons.
Ooh, strong words. We'll see how it fares up on the international stage. For Group B, leading that pool of teams will be Sengoku Gaming from WJC here, TJ.
An exciting team here. This is their second turn at international competition. They did, of course, go to Horizon. They've lost a player since then, their team captain Dejawa, who retired during the off-season, and he's been replaced by a new player, a rookie player. And I don't think they've found their synergy, but they're one of the most experienced teams here internationally, so they'll have a lot to live up to.
And Stuart, I do see that Group C will be headed by our recently crowned WRL champions. It is FunPlus Phoenix coming in.
Yeah, FPX coming into Group C is probably one of the favorites, I think, in the entire tournament right now. So they're going to be looking really, really strong in that Group C. We'll have to see who they're going to be with, but definitely one of the favorites coming into it.
Which does leave Group D to be headed by Roadster Y Riku. Not only the WCK champion, but also another returning team from Horizon Cup.
Yeah, exactly. Untouched by the curse, right? So their roster is also unchanged. Basically, that's, last year it was Isaac. He changed, now he's 0. It's A2 and lost to Sandbox and Freaks last time, but it's okay.
As we now advance into Pool 2, see where teams start to slot in alongside the other groups. It is Team Leviathan from the WOL, the LATAM, and they will be slotted alongside Team Flash here, TJ.
Yeah, and I think that's a good draw for them. I think the group that all these teams are hoping for is obviously Sengoku, but you're mostly trying to avoid FPX and KT Rolster. Leviathan are veterans of the mobile esports scene. They'll be ready to fight against Team Flash.
Oh, Stuart, that's Team Queso, one of the final returning teams also from Horizon Cup representing the EMEA.
Yeah, they were a little bit disappointing in the Horizon Cup, and this is a good draw for them. I think they can dodge Team Flash, FPX, and Roaster Y. I think this is probably the best draw that they can get with Sengoku. Coming into it, they weren't really one of the favorites, but they smashed Rix in the final 4-1.
Which does now leave 2 more teams for Group C and Group D, respectively. It is Omega Esports from the Wild Tour Brazil will be slotting into the same group as FunPlus Phoenix here, TJ.
A good sign for FunPlus Phoenix is the Wild Tour did produce some really good teams this year. I think Omega Esports are playing better Wild Rift than a lot of people give them credit for. I would take them out of Group B. Against FPX, though, we just watched them win. It's hard to see them coming out on top.
And it does leave the WNS #1 representatives, Immortals, will be taking on Roaster Y in Group D. Now I'm gonna kind of leave this one up to the floor because I know me and TJ definitely feel at home on this one. But Riku, after watching the WCK champions take that grand final in their own right against Guangdong Freaks, what are your reactions to these 2 teams?
I think Immortals it's definitely going to be a challenge, right? When we look back at the Horizon Cup, and I feel like Roaster Y with their stack, and I feel like they're getting stronger and stronger, especially with a lot of players retained. It's definitely going to be a challenge.
And I do want to remind everyone, and I'll throw back over to you, TJ, that the rest of these teams being slotted into Groups A, B, C, and D, respectively, for the group stage, will be concluded once the play-in stage is finished and we play it out.
So all they will need to do is play in the plans, and then we'll do another draw. I did want to say for Immortals, they haven't lost a tournament all season. The format in North America is you play a series of small tournaments. Every single tournament they played in, they won. So they aren't any slouches coming in here, and they don't need to beat KC Volster to get out of the groups. They just need to beat the other two teams that make it out of play-ins. So a rough draw for North America, but I believe in Hoon and the rest of the lads over there on our representatives.
I feel the hopium, TJ. I feel the hopium.
You know what? I'm sure we can carry on the banter to the Twitter sphere and to other socials, but I do want to give a huge shout out to everyone for tuning in to the live draw show for the Wild Rift Icon Global Championship. Thank you so much. We will see you all soon in Singapore next month.
那感觉够真，开启畅爽，警示美妙。
信念不息，热爱当然。来看，我们来了 ，WIL， 加油 ，FunPlus， 加油加油加油！大家好，我是 JD Gaming，
我是 JDG 的射手康泰斯旺，
我是 JDG 的单人路 Lemon，
我是 JDG 的打野秦总，
我是 JDG 的辅助 Doki，
我是 JDG 的中山99。
现在我们来了，京东加油！我是 Nova 战队，
我是 Nova 的射手人面，
我是 Nova 的辅助亚米，
我是 Nova 的打野龙，我是 Nova 的中山勾波，我是 Nova 的上单一人。爱靠加油！新加坡见！快乐中华，乘风破浪！耶！
大家好，我是 OMG 的单路选手 Dustwind， 然后这次也是很艰辛的拿到了就是最后一张门票嘛。其实回顾这一段经历，我们其实还蛮坎坷的。从那个季后赛，因为是最后一名进的嘛，到反正打到现在，就是连赢2个 BO5拿到这张门票，就一路算是很艰难了。然后希望在这次新加坡之旅之中，在世界赛上能够重新调整，拿到一个自己满意的成绩，也拿到对我们团队来说相对更满意的一个成绩。加油！
大家好，我是大能，祝 WRL 职业联赛越办越好，也祝进入全球赛的队伍取得好成绩，拿下冠军，咱们方方面面，让世界看到我们的实力。